Trader Tina here once again from ShortMeTina.com with my daily recap. Happy Monday. Hopefully you had an enjoyable weekend. It is Monday. We are back into the full swing of things. So before we recap the overall markets, I want to say welcome if this is your first time tuning into a ShortMeTina video, and welcome back if you are returning. Thanks for sticking with us. All right, so let's recap the SPY again. Right now, this chart that's on the screen is the S&P 500, the SPY daily chart dating back to around 2017. We're off about 1.2% on the day to close at, I believe we closed at 288.12, somewhere around there, but it's down a little bit in after hours trading. So the last quote I see here is 287.94. So what am I paying attention to, obviously heading into this week, the remainder of the week, the month, the third quarter, etc., is I will be paying attention to, obviously, resistance of around 293 to 295. You can see here, after we had that 5-day decline, we had 3 or 4 days of the markets trending up, and we ran right into resistance on August 8th, right? We went as high as 293.62, proving that this is in fact resistance. We had a hard time penetrating here and here. We broke free back in June of 2019, but we have since pulled back. Try to, as I stated here, try to back test going as high as around 294, and we had a bit of a pull off today again, or a pull back. We're off about 1.26% on the day. So heading into again this week, the month, what I'm paying attention to is several levels of support. We can call the first one here like a shorter term support after we had this 5-day decline, right? That 280 to 281 level held. Actually, that's an error. I can't say that that's shorter term support. If I extend this line, you can see that this actually has proved to be a once resistance, now support area for quite some time, dating back to February of 2018. You can see we tried to penetrate that 280 level, couldn't do it. Popped through, tried here, couldn't do it, tried here, so on and so forth. So after we had that 5 or so days of decline, we bounced off that 280, 281 level. So that's the first level that I'm paying attention to. If we cannot sustain that, the secondary level I'm paying attention to is the pops we had here. The low comes in at around 292, 293. We did it twice here. We got here, we popped, pulled back down, and we popped. So 280 first level, 272, 273 second level, and then the third level of support would be this purple line here, and this support has held for the most part dating back to December of 2017. So longer term support for about 2 years. So those are the tiers that I'm paying attention to. If we crater 280, more than likely we're taking a trip back to 272. If we crater that, more than likely we're taking a trip back to that 258, 260 area. Conversely, we can also bounce off of those levels. So paying attention to, obviously, overhead 293 and those subsequent support levels I just spoke about. What else? And right now we're looking at the IWM, and before I continue with the IWM, I do want to say that I am short the market. I'm short the SPY. Been very vocal about it for quite some time. At any rate, so we're off about 1.34% with the IWM. I see a quote here of 148.60. Like I've indicated before, I'm not going to pay attention to the stuff that's like all that stuffing, the stuff that's going on in the middle. I have 2 focal points when it comes to the IWM. The first focal point, only because we're closer to that level of support, we can call that 144 to 145. It has held for the most part dating back to 2017, so for about 2 years. That level has held, minus what happened here when we had that big collapse back in December of 2018, January of 2019. So paying attention to support of 144, more than likely we should always get a bounce there. If we don't, if we eventually crater, then I think something like what happened in December will happen again, where the market pulls back even more. First level, that's the first level I'm paying attention to. Second level I'm paying attention to is 160, again dating back to 2018, right? So well over a year, approaching 2 years, we've had a hard time, with the exception of this area that's highlighted here. We've had a hard time penetrating 160, hence why these areas are important to me, because they have served as we can call that like a pivot or a meaningful point for about 2 years. So I'm paying attention to them. You should pay attention to them too. So conversely, like I said, if 148 is support, if 148 is support and we do not bounce and we get that pullback, more than likely if we break through 160, that ceiling, I think that the markets will run. So that's what I'm paying attention to with the IWM. What else? All right, and so we have Bitcoin off about 1.25% on the day. I don't really have too much to say about it. We've really kind of been cycling through, let's say, 11,000, 12,000, back to 10, 11, 12, so on and so forth. So for things to really get going, we need to break through this short-term resistance here. We can call that 12,000. If we can get above that, with obviously confirming volume, 13,000 is around the corner. And if we can get there, again, if you look back, there's very little overhead. 20,000 is on the horizon, but we're not there yet. I thought we'd actually be around 14,000 at this point, but it seems as though we're kind of lagging or stalled around that 11, 12,000 mark. But again, right now, at least we've managed to hold above shorter term support. We can call that 10,000. As long as we can do that, I'm fairly certain we're going to eventually get above 12 and then hit 13 and then subsequently 20. What else? All right, so let's do an update on gold. It's up about 0.94% on the day. I see a quote here of 142.59. Clearly, after we broke out of this longer term base, we can call that base. It started to be established back in 2013. We're in 2019. So for about 6 years, this red line here served as resistance. We can call that area around 130. Since we broke through that, clearly we hit secondary resistance. We can call that 142, and we've kind of hung out there since then. Obviously, if we pass that, I can see gold hitting 150 in short order. If we stall here, more than likely we'll pull back to around 130, and in my opinion, that might be a good time to go long. What else? All right, then we have Uber, a bit more unloading today, off about 7%. I see a quote here of 37.24. IPO low, super important. IPO low clocked in at 36.08. Today we went as low as 37.02. So since we hit this IPO low back in May of 2019, we haven't really revisited it as of yet. I suspect that we will. The question at that point is, will we get a bounce the same way we did back in May of 2019, or will it crater? I think either which way would be a decent bet. I think if you made an attempt to go long at support, I think you'll get that bounce. But if sentiment continues to be negative, then more than likely at some point it's going to break that support level of around $36. So that's my take on Uber. What else? All right, so let's wrap it up and round it out with ticker RKDA. Daily chart is up about 81% on the day. You see a close here of 820. I did a video on ticker RKDA, I believe on Friday, and I said, well, if you want to know whether or not this stock can potentially run, you want to pay attention to how it opens up today and pre-market activity. I didn't get a chance to check pre-market activity, but we opened today. The opening price was $6. We closed on Friday at $4.51. So we closed well above the close of Friday, which signaled to you that there's demand for this stock. Ran into resistance here of around 8, although we still closed relatively close to the high of the day, right? We closed at 820. The high of the day clocked in at 838. So for me, if this momentum continues, I can see ticker RKDA hitting around $10 to $11 in short order. So right now I see a very bullish chart, right? So let's wrap it there. Tina here once again from ShortMeTina.com. If you enjoyed any portion of the video, I'd like for you to do 3 things for me. 1, comment in the comment section. Are you in the SPY, Bitcoin, gold, Uber, RKDA, and the others? What do you think about it? That's the first thing. Comment in the comment section. 2, I do videos daily. If you want to be notified, make sure you are subscribed at our channel, at ShortMeTina on YouTube. And lastly, I kind of butchered that a little bit, but you get it. Do videos daily. If you want to be notified of every time we do a video, then make sure you're subscribed at ShortMeTina. And lastly, I've been trading for well over 15 years. If you think you can learn anything from me, then head on over to ShortMeTina.com, sign up, become a member. Thank you for listening, and as always, thank you for the support. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will talk to you tomorrow.